WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk. The soccer crew is back, and it's time for some playoffs again, this time in the ECAC conference. The men will be taking on Brooklyn College this Saturday, and the Pioneers have the home advantage by being first in the conference bracket. As we look at how both teams coming into the game as they finish their season, the Pioneers the number 1 seed, the Bulldogs the number 4 seed. Pioneers coming in with a 10-6-3 record. The Bulldogs not as impressive at 9-8-2. Pioneers only allowing 33 goals and the Bulldogs allowing 50. Pioneers also scoring 51 goals compared to the Bulldogs 42, but the last 3 games is the big difference. The Pioneers 0-2-1 in their last 3 games, and the Bulldogs are 2-1-0 in their last 3 games. Vincenzo, we'll start with you, a player on the team. What advantages do the Pioneers have over the Bulldogs?
Well, you mentioned it already, Chris. William Patterson is hosting the game, and they are the number 1 seed, so they are the team to beat. But one of the biggest advantages is that they have the bragging rights. Earlier in the season, William Patterson took care of Brooklyn with a 4-0 victory, and I think it'll be the same again this weekend.
Do you think there's any particular aspect of the game the Pioneers are just simply better at than Brooklyn?
I think it's just scoring goals and playing solid defense. You know, last time they played Brooklyn, they scored 3 goals in a matter of 5 minutes. So I think if they just score a good deal of goals in the first half, and they'll just take it from there.
Daniel?
For me, I feel like they have the advantage throughout all facets of the game. Like Vincenzo said, they have a solid defense, and the Pioneers have a better attack. One stark contrast for me, I feel like the Pioneers have a much better goal differential. They have a plus 18 as opposed to the Bulldogs minus 8.
That is true. Mateo?
For me, yeah, like as Vincenzo and Dan said, it's just scoring goals. If you see, they beat them 4-0. Like at the end of the game is whoever scored the most, right? But what concerns me is like the last games, William Patterson lost 2 out of 3, and the Bulldogs won 2 out of 3. So we'll see who gets better there, but I'm looking, and I think William Patterson is going to beat them just like they did during the regular season.
Yeah, Bulldogs might have momentum in their last 3 games, but William Patterson did have the momentum in the earlier game. Alec?
Yeah.
Well, like everyone has said so far, I think it's all about pressure. It's all about that offense. If you look at it, they did score 4 goals in their first game against the Bulldogs, but they actually put 5 balls in the back of the net. So the first goal was called offsides, but that's pressure. That's still pressure. You are making the defense drop back. You're making them come forward to try to catch your forwards offsides because they know that you're playing in their end and they need to get you out of there. And I think it's also just this is an opportunity for the Pioneers to come back. Had a tough conference championship loss against Montclair. This is an opportunity for a second life in their team, and I think they're really going to take advantage of it and that home crowd to really put away Brooklyn.
Now, we all talked about the 4-0 victory for the Pioneers. We're actually going to look at the stats from that game where the Pioneers did so well, winning 4-0. The Pioneers having 20 shots compared to the Bulldogs 11. Only 5 saves needed for the Pioneers, 6 for the Bulldogs. 10 shots on goal compared to 5 for the Bulldogs, doubling the shots on goal. Pioneers offense was red hot. Vincenzo, again, a member of the team. 4-0 then. Can we see 4-0 now? Do we expect it to be the same? What did you take away from that game? Is it going to be the same teams going into this game?
Yeah, I think it is, and what I took away was the 3 goals in that 5 minutes in that second half. What I want to see this time is to secure the game in the first half this time. That way squad rotation can take place, because if they win this game, the next game on Sunday is 12 p.m., so it's only a 24-hour difference between both games. So squad rotation, more opportunities for other kids to play that haven't seen the field all season.
Daniel?
What I took away from that game was that the Pioneers played a complete game by being solid in attack and being solid offensively. I feel like they wore them down. They were the aggressors in the second half, and they were the more physical team.
Now, switching over to the women's team, they are going to be traveling in an away game as they take on NYU Violets. We'll look at how both those teams stacked up from their regular season performances. The women's didn't have the greatest end to their season, finishing the record at 9-8-1. The Violets an impressive 10-5-3. 25 goals allowed for our Pioneers and only 10 goals allowed for the Violets, but 48 goals for our Pioneers and 29 for the Violets. And then last 3, it was staggering for the Pioneers compared to the Bulldogs, staggering for the Pioneers versus the Violets. 1-2-0 versus 0-2-1. Both teams haven't been that great in their past 3 games. Alec, we'll start with you. What can you take away from this? Will our Pioneers get a win, an upset victory?
Well, the thing that you have to worry about with going up against NYU is NYU's defense. You look at that, they've let up 10 goals all season, and that's impressive to do in a conference. You have a lot of goals coming on net. You look at their team, they are second best at defending the ball, and they maintain their possession all the time. I've had the pleasure of watching one of their games, and they keep the ball 60% of the time in their own zone. They don't let you in. They don't let you have it. I think the way the Lady Pioneers have to play this game is they have to be consistent in their attack. They have to go right after NYU, and they have to make sure they maintain the ball to not let NYU set up their long runs down the sides of the field.
Mateo?
What I take from it is the goals that they have scored. There's a big difference on the goals allowed, obviously by 15 goals, but then it's scored. They have a lot more than that, and that's what is going to define a game. It doesn't matter how many you didn't let in. Like, let's say you lose in 3-2, but if you could score 2 more, that's the difference between William Patterson and NYU, that they score more goals. William Patterson just has to be patient, as Alec said, and NYU likes to have the ball. They just got to wait for them, and stay calm, and if they start losing, they know they have a good team, they know they could score goals, and they could go for it.
Vincenzo?
Yeah, NYU did have a good season, and they beat both Stockton and Rutgers Newark, which the Women's Pioneers team couldn't. But I think to combat what Alex said before, Pioneers have more goals. We have 48 goals compared to their 29, average of 2.67 a game. The pressure is off because we're the 4th seed, but I think what Coach Woods have been stressing in the training session, conditioning the girls' team, the importance of covering on defense, staying with the runner. I think if they absorb the pressure and then counter from there, exploiting the defense from behind.
Daniel?
My biggest takeaway is that it's the tale of two sides. Who overcomes the matchup between the Pioneers offense and the Violets defense? Whoever wins that matchup will ultimately determine the outcome of the game.
Now we'll run right down the line. Yes or no, win prediction. Do you see the women Pioneers getting a win against NYU?
I do. I see them pulling off the upset with a 2-1 win by catching them sleeping on the defensive side and being able to be solid defensively.
Vincenzo?
Yeah, good defense will lead to good offense. I think NYU might be a little bit frustrated that they can't score right away, but I think the William Pioneers will prevail.
Yeah, for me, yeah. I hope to see it in overtime. It'll be better.
Overtime would be fun. Yes,
Yeah.
no, win?
I'm going to say yes. I think that NYU is going to be sleeping on the Lady Pioneers, and I think, like Vincenzo said, good defense. I'm thinking a 1-0 victory for the Lady Pioneers.
Sounds awesome. That's all the time we have for William Patterson Soccer. Good luck to both our Pioneer teams playing in their playoff games. Up next, the basketball crew is back to break down the latest in the NBA.